this is our multi-use folding carrier. I'm just going to go for a full demonstration on how to use it, etc. It has a maximum wet weight of 150 kilos, and that's depending on the motorhome itself, chassis extensions, lengths, etc, etc. But its max weight in the right situation with an Alco chassis like this one is 150 kg, as been printed on the side. Now firstly, when you've got telescopic galvanised receptacles and arms, with oxidisation on the road, it can sort of start to weld together if you don't use them regular. So once a year we remove the scooter carrier, spray a bit of white grease in it, put it back in, and then now and again, once every couple of months, if you don't remove it, we just release the catches I'm going to show you now and just slide the carrier in and out. So how we do that? Firstly, we need to remove the electrical socket, 13 pin, rotate to 9 o'clock, pull the socket out. Then we have a release pin here. We're going to pull the pin and rotate it 180 degrees, keeping the locking pin out. And we also have a little hand wheel here that we just release. All the hand wheel does is stop any chattering with the box sections and the movement. We come to the other side, do exactly the same. Release the pin, release the hand wheel. Do not pull on the lighting board, grab on the channel itself and just slide it out and slide it in. If you are removing it, pull it most of the way out, one person at either side to take it out the remainder, 2 people put it back in, but once you get it into the receptacles, one person from the centre just slide it in. There is stops, so it will line itself back up, and just simply then flick the switch around so the carrier engages. Little tug there just to make it shoot in. Same again this side. If it's not quite lined, just give it a little movement. You'll notice the shoe ball goes in, and then lock up the hand wheels. And plug back in your electrics. Lid goes to 9 o'clock on the 13 pin, twist to 12 o'clock. The socket lid then sits on the disc of the plug. So, to lower the system, we have the very same system as the removal. We have a pin on either side. So all we're going to do is pull the pin, rotate 180 degrees. Do make sure you release both pins. Don't forget, or you could end up bending one of the pins. Then from the centre of the lighting board, you're just going to pull the carrier towards you. The lighting board will automatically tilt in the right direction that you need, and it will just drop down. Go back to your pin, simply rotate the handle, and as you'll see, it will lock in, and same again at this side, lock. Now the first thing we need to do is set this carrier up to suit your particular bike. So firstly, we are going to remove the rear wheel loop by rotating the ratchet handles 360 degrees is all you should require, and slide the rear wheel off the end. We are then going to get the loading ramp, lift up the arm, release the loading ramp, put them back in a couple of threads, which does assist when it comes to putting them back on. Like so. We have a stainless steel hinge on the end, which we simply slot on to the edge of the carrier, like so, making sure we are as straight as we can possibly be. Now, some people choose to just push the bike up. Make sure you have your arm up in the air at this moment in time. and some people choose to use the tick over the bike. A word of warning, if you use the tick over the bike, always make sure you've got the hand on the clutch or the brake. But if you watch my wrist, as I'm gently throttling, as the wheel touches the base, it's quite easy to throttle on. So how we do this is we control it with our elbow. As we come up, as soon as the wheel hits the top, start raising your elbow to keep that throttle low. And we bring it into position. At this point, we're going to need help to set it up, i.e. someone just supporting the bike while we set up the product. Now, depending on what bike you have, majority of bikes are weighted 50-50 or 55-45 balanced. So in those cases, we're going to centralize the bike. How we do that is by releasing the 13mm, 8mm bolts, 13mm spanner nuts on the wheel loop, just same as the ratchet, one turn, and the wheel loop will slide up and down the channel to position it where you need to get the bike centered. However, if you have a Lambretta or a Vespa or an electric bike where all the weight is on the rear, usually 7% weight on the back, 30% weight on the front, you will need to balance the weight on the arms. So in those cases, the front wheel will go as far that way as you possibly can get it to balance the weight, more so than centralizing, only for rear engine vehicles. So at this point, the important bit now is we're going to remove the ramp. We're going to get the rear wheel loop. This normally goes in last, but on the setup I want to put it in now. So I'm just going to slot that back into its slots on the channel, and I'm going to rotate this up to the wheel of the bike. Now don't just slide that up to the wheel. I want you to grab hold of the wheel and rotate the wheel, making sure the front wheel is in the center of the front hoop. That will put more weight into that front holder than just pushing it up. Then we can slide the ramp up. While holding this against the wheel, we can release our hand off the wheel to tighten these ratchet handles down. Now, depending on the width of the tyre, sometimes you will come round and it will hit the tyre. So these ratchet handles, you lift them up, you turn, you drop down, you tighten. You lift up, you turn, you drop down, tighten, until you get it nice and firmly locked in place. If you're a little bit like me, I like everything facing the right direction, so just lift them up and place them back in a nice even manner. So now we have wedged the bike in solidly, so it can't move left to right, which is very important to protect our lightweight swinging arm that goes to the handlebar grip. What we don't want is this to be towing left and right all the time, as it will put pressure on the welds here, and we don't want them to start cracking in any way. So locking the bike in prevents that from happening. But we now need to set up this handlebar grip, which is very critical that we get this correct. So 10mm socket and spanner, or two 10mm spanners for the clamps here and here, two 17mm spanners for the locking ball joint, and that's all we should need. So I'm going to remove the fail-safe hand grip, and just keep that to the side for now. We are going to release this one until you see no more threads in the nutsert at the bottom. This way, instead of just pulling it up, we can lift it up, plenty of room to swing it onto the handlebar grip. Very important, it's always on the non-throttle side and on the outer edge of the bike. Never put it on the front, as it could slip. On the outer you have framework and clocks and things here that's always fighting against this edge. So what we need to do is loosen these clamps, this one, so we can get this clamped firmly onto the handlebar grip itself, and make sure we adjust that so when looking in a straight line it's perfectly in line while that is clamped to the handlebar. This one will move in and out depending on the width of your handlebars. You also may need to rotate it slightly depending on the orientation of the grips. So we're going to set that up in the manner that when this comes down and is on your handlebar grip, it's very important that the orientation of the handlebar grip is with the handles directly on top, and that we get this ball joint correct. So the ball joint, if this was solid and the bike was going up and down on its suspension, you will see that that has an angle and it could put pressure on the handlebar. With the ball joint set in the center, as that goes up and down, this remains horizontal, putting no added pressure onto the handlebar grip. So we need to set it up so the thread that comes out of the ball is dead center. Not like that, not like that. We want full 360 rotation. So sometimes we need to release the ball joint and pivot that, depending on how low or high this is, to make sure that is in the center whilst clamped. When we tighten it, we hold the bolt and we tighten the inner nut as the lock nut. Always frequently check that that is tight, and check your bolts are tight here. These are as tight as possible so it cannot slip off the end. These two here need to be tight enough to hold it up in the air so it's not dropping down on your head when you load it, but loose enough for it to go up and down with the suspension. So the whole idea of this fastening system is it will leave the bike to freely move on its own suspension. We're not compressing anything in any way. It keeps all ratchet straps away from the bike, so there's nothing chaffing on the paintwork in any format. So that is the setup complete. However, the next time you come to put your bike on, you may find the ball joint is actually touching. That will be because you pulled this down or higher than when you originally set it up. But as you travel down the road, that will alter itself and go back to center. So you only have to centralize that ball joint first time around, and then when you clamp it up, obviously try and keep it in the center as you go. So your loading procedure, not too dissimilar. Up in the air, wheel loop off, ramp into place, carefully put the ramp with the bike, controlling with your elbow. As you're holding the bike here, we can now pull this down, hold of the grip, swing it over, a little juggle act onto the grip, start clamping it down onto the grip itself. Once that gets tight, it will hold the bike upright for you. And then we're going to get the fail-safe put in this side so the clamp can't split. And then at this point, you tend to better tighten them both down together, firmly gripping the bike's handlebar grip. The bike is held up. So all we now need to do is the wheel loop would go back in at this point, rotate the wheel, push and clamp the ratchets as said earlier. Now all we need to do is strap the wheels in. On the rear, the hooking points as shown at the front here are underneath, here and here. So you will be bringing the strap all the way around. But I will demonstrate how to use the strap on the front as it's easier to view. But if you do need to move these eye bolts, put a spanner or a bar through the eye bolt, rotate it to release, and it will slide up and down the tracks to get it in the position best suited to your bike. And then again, twist and lock them in place. Now when we put our strap on, we don't want the buckle near the wheels and damaging it. We want the buckle in between the eyelets. So I'm going to feed it through the first eyelet. Now pinch this to bring it through the first eyelet so we can get a nice bit of grip when we pull here. We're going to come around the wheel. If you have a gap here and the loop's further down here, it is kind of best to come through this way so that the strap can pull as far as it needs. But if it fills the wheel loop up, there's no problem just coming around through the wheel, through the eyelet, press the buckle, push in from behind, enough to get a grip to be able to pull it down tight. Now what we need to look out for here is we want this strap to be the shortest distance from the wheel to the eyelet, i.e. If that was the centre of our wheel, I do not want my strap here. If I hit a pothole and it just jumps for a fraction of a second, this could rotate the wheel and this becomes slack. So always have the strap as far forward on the wheel as possible, so if the wheel does jump it cannot rotate and the strap cannot come loose. And then we repeat with the rear strap, of course, going right round and underneath. Our bike is nice and secure. The loading ramp, we just put that in place. You noticed I put the handlebars, the grips in, so I can rest it on there for now. Put this one in loosely first, come back to this side and put the next one in and continue to tighten up as hand tight as you can possibly get it. Now you will notice there's two nutserts here and at the same there. This is our multi-use carrier and it can be set up in many formats. You can have up to 3 e-bikes on the standard length as it is now. You can get an extension to do up to 5 e-bikes. You can get the extension, providing your combination weight doesn't go over 150 kilos, to have 1 motorbike, 2 push bikes at the same time. However, if you do have 2 push bikes at the same time, it's quite a long reach to reach over. So a word of warning, because the Handlebar auto tilts, it's not something you can adjust in and out. Once it's set to that distance, it is set to that distance. So ideally, I personally think 1 scooter, 1 push bike is the ideal scenario if you wanted to carry 2 items at once. We also do platforms for mobility carriers or just for general use, like fishing tackle, if you don't want to smell up your van if you're a fisherman. So it can be changed to do various things. It's a very versatile piece of equipment. Now packing it up, we put the ramp in place. Remove our straps. Important to release the pin as shown before. Pull the pin out, rotate 180 degrees. I'll come to the other side. Pull the pin out, rotate 180 degrees. Make sure you do both. Again, if you lift it up, you may risk bending one of the pins. I'm now going to fold this arm down. Now we have made an amendment here. We've done an elongated arm. So when you've just got it as a scooter carrier, it will fold up on this side and trap it between the 2 channels, as you're going to see. If you had this channel and an e-bike either side, as many people do, so they can carry e-bikes when they want and a scooter when they want, but not at the same time, we adjust this, rebolt it so it goes behind the ramp before you put the ramp back on. In this case, as it's just a scooter, we can bring it forward of the ramp. Make sure our hand wheels are nice and tight, of course. Finish tightening the ramp up as well. Nice and tight, centre of lighting bulb, just raise it and let it do its own thing all the way up. Come back to your pin, rotate so it goes into the slot. I've been lucky, it's located straight away. If you come round to this side, I'm going to make it so the pin doesn't go in, just to show you. So it hasn't quite gone in. Get the arm, lighting bulb, pull back until it locks into place, just lining up the 2 holes. Now last but not least, due to the ball joint here, we don't want it rattling around, so I'm going to just use one of the straps just to tie up the ball joint to the ramp to stop it rattling around, like so. So that is nice and going nowhere. And just loosely tie up the end like so. Now your number plate holder, all we're going to do is pop off the bottom base. We get your number plate, we tuck it into one side, flex it to tuck it into this side. We then slot it into the top lip. There's two markers that say 110, 110. Clip the bottom of the number plate on top of those markers, which holds the number plate up for you. So you can then put your flange in, again bend it this side, snap it shut, and your number plate is in position. That's everything you need to know about our multi-use carrier. Thank you for watching.